All right, welcome to our Libra New Moon Manifesting. I am super excited to be sharing information about the Libra New Moon, what's taking place in the cosmos, how that personally is affecting us, how we can work with it, and how we can use it to support our goals, dreams, and wishes. I'm Janet Grosskost. If you're new to the call, I want to welcome you. I know there's a lot of familiar faces, but I see some new ones too, so it's great to have you here. And I will, just to give you a little idea of the format, we go for usually 45 minutes to an hour. So I'll talk about the new moon, what's taking place with it energetically. I'll talk about setting your intentions. We'll talk about the 6 planets that are retrograde, as well as Chiron, the wounded healer, which is an asteroid. So there's 7 key elements that are retrograde. I will talk about how to set your intentions with whatever house this is falling in for your astrology chart, because that's going to be different for everybody. And I will open up the lines for questions you may have about what's taking place, or if you know where this is in your chart, or if you have specific questions about manifesting. And then we'll go into a brief guided imagery meditation, just some breathing work, something to help us tune into our body and set our intentions and feel those intentions, so that we're raising our vibe and getting to a place where we can actually attract the good stuff to us. So if you are new to this call, just to give you a little bit about me, my name is Jana, and I am a former tax accountant, and I'm also an energy healer. So I've been in both of these worlds for a very, very, very long time. I've been doing the new moon calls for over 12. We're almost on 13 years. In December, we will be 13 years in doing this. And my passion is helping people in manifesting their goals, dreams, and wishes. And when I first learned about working with the lunar cycles and how it was a great time to set your intentions, I started playing with it, and I started having some amazing results from it. And then I started teaching classes on it. And I just love looking at relationship. What's my relationship with the planets, with the world, with other people, with all of these elements that are in our lives? And how can I make the most of it so that I'm getting the results that I want? And in doing that, it's been a magnificent journey. I've had so many amazing people that join us on this journey. So thank you all for participating tonight and being a part of this, because I love, love, love this community. This is such a safe space for you to just learn and grow and become your ultimate best self. And that's my intention for you. So I want to pop up. Thank you, love bugs. I love the hearts. My screen share. There we go. Pop-up screen share so I can just show you a little bit of what's taking place. Obviously, we are stepping into the Libra energy, and Libra is, I love how this, I think I have it set up all right, and then I get in here. All right, so Libra is an air sign, and air signs are all about ideas, inspiration. It's where the wind is blowing you. It may be new inspiration. So anytime we've got air signs taking place, we want to tune into our ideas. We want to make sure that we're staying grounded. We may feel out of balance to a certain extent. Libra is literally balancing the scales. So it's about bringing in more balance into your lives. And it's Libra is about relationship, and your relationship with it can be a partner, it can be a work person, it can be a colleague, it can be a relationship with your higher self. So this is a time to dive into your specific relationships and identify what's working in them, where there needs to be improvement. Maybe you need to set boundaries. Maybe there's communication that needs to happen that will support the relationship in a better way. Because when we are in relationship, it's not just about our personal experiences and thoughts and feelings. We have to take this other person into account in that process. So as I mentioned, Libra is about creating balance in your life. There is also a sense of justice, of creating equality. And so again, if there are imbalances in your life, make sure that you're focusing on really rebalancing those scales in that relationship. I don't know why my cat decided that now is the time to play with the blinds. I locked the dog out. I didn't lock the cat out. All right. Equality. That is a big theme of the Libra energy. And not only do we have the sun and moon in Libra, so for those of you who don't really know how astrology works, the new moon happens when the sun and moon come together for a brief opportunity to unite, to bring that masculine and feminine energy together, and to help us in moving forward. So when the sun and moon are together, there is less of an energetic pull than when we have a full moon, where the sun is in one sign and the moon would be opposite. And we feel like we are in opposition and being pulled in multiple directions. So with this new moon, we have the sun, moon, Mercury, and Mars all in Libra. So Mars is about taking action. And with this being in Libra, there may be this push for equality, and not just on your personal level, but maybe you're fighting for certain people's equality or certain group, and you're really interested in creating that fairness and justice for them. Now, Libra helps us be optimistic and look at the bright side of things. It raises our hopes and supports us in being, setting those new projects in place, but being assertive and moving them forward. So especially with Mars in here, because Mars is going to say, hey, what goals and dreams do you have with this new moon, and how do we move them forward? And I've also been feeling this energy, and I've heard this from other people for about the last week to 10 days, that they feel like they can finally, like the wheels are starting to move forward. It reminds me of the train getting ready to leave the station. Those wheels are barely moving as that engine is trying to pull it out of the station. And it's going to gain momentum, and we're going to gain momentum as we move later on into October, when we have a bunch of planets that are going to be moving direct. And I'll talk about those. With this chart, if you can see this, and this is not the right chart. I threw the chart in here. I don't know where it ended up. Oh, good grief. Oh my gosh, Mercury. All right, don't look at this chart because it's not the right graphic. I don't know what happened to my graphic. I did save it. So as I mentioned, we have the sun, moon, Mars, and Mercury in Libra. You're going to want to find out where this is taking place in your specific birth chart. In this birth chart, it's taking place in the 6th house, 5th house, 6th house. So 6th house relates to creating healthy habits. So if something you could do is if your body was imbalanced because maybe you've been eating not the right stuff for the summertime, this would be an opportunity to tune into those healthy habits and daily routines that help you actually achieve your health and wellness. So as I mentioned, there are 6 planets retrograde. So we have obviously Mercury, and the one that's going to go direct first is Pluto. Pluto's in Capricorn, and it's going to go direct tomorrow. So the actual new moon is taking place tomorrow at 7:05 a.m. on the East Coast, 4:05 a.m. on the West Coast. So anytime a planet is retrograde, there's this sense of going within. It's an opportunity for us to review what's been taking place in our life, to revisit past goals, maybe looking at patterns that we are, deeply entrenched in, and making those conscious choices in moving out of those patterns and create what it is that we want. So all of the outer planets, which are the big planets, which create big outer changes, are retrograde right now. Pluto goes direct tomorrow. Saturn goes direct. It is in Aquarius, and it's going to go direct on the 10th. So just a few days later, and we'll start to feel a shift as each one of these planets start to move in the right direction, moving in that forward direction. That train is going to feel like it's moving forward, and you're going to have more momentum moving forward. After Saturn, we have Jupiter that's going to be moving direct on the 17th. Jupiter is also in Aquarius, and this is the planet of luck and expansion. And it's actually a square position with Mars right now, even though you can't see it on this chart. I don't even know why I have this chart up because it's not the right chart. Wow, I don't know what happened to my presentation overall. So anytime there's a square position, there's this sense of opposition that you can't see around the corner. You may not know the next step. And with Jupiter being in this mix, it's an opportunity for you to go within, tune into what's taking place, and identify, okay, what is it that I really want to move forward with? Because when we can get very clear on that picture and we have focus, when we come out of these retrogrades, it's going to be that much easier to move that train forward. And then on the 18th, so towards mid-month, we're going to feel a lot of momentum moving forward. On the 18th, we've got Mercury that's going to be moving direct, and Mercury supports us in communication. So with this being in, actually in Libra, there may be difficult conversations that you have to have. You may be in a position where you feel like you need to speak your truth. Even if it doesn't land the way that you want it to, at least by expressing what's coming up and what's taking place, you're planting a seed and you're supporting yourself and moving forward, and you'll feel more confident the next time you have to have a difficult conversation. So keep in mind as you're in this place that it's an opportunity for you to not run amok with your words, but really be thoughtful about what you want to express, how you want to express it, and really speaking your truth and allowing it to land the way that it needs to. And then maybe there's a coming apart of that relationship where people get to process what took place. And then there's a coming back together, which would be that opportunity to have additional conversations, get more clarity, get more, direction and moving forward. So nothing's going to happen incredibly quickly right now, just because we do have so much that is retrograde, and it's going to be an opportunity for you to really fine tune who am I individually and who am I in regards to relationship. Because when you can look at those pieces and separate yourself from that relationship and be able to really identify how you want to move forward, it will support you. What is with my pets today? That's why I call them pests. So I wanted to put up this chart. This shows Libra in the houses. If this is taking place, say, in your third house, this is an opportunity for you to be thinking about and talking about equality, love, diplomacy, and being justice and impartial. Maybe this is taking place in your 10th house related to your work. And if that's the case, you may be in a position where you negotiate with people, that you maybe are in management, and you have a career that involves partnership on some level. And this is an opportunity for you to enhance your reputation and bring more fairness to the overall picture. So if you don't know where this is taking place specifically for you, I have a short tutorial video on my website, New Moon Manifesting, and I don't know, 5-7 minutes long, but it walks you how to pull your astrology birth chart. You want to pull it with what's called transits, because I'm talking about the planets and where they're transiting right now, where they are today, because a birth chart is simply a snapshot in time. The day you were born, the stars were in a certain place, all the planets were in a certain place, and where we're at today, the planets are in a completely different place. So knowing how the planets are interacting with each other today, as well as how they interact with your specific birth chart, gives you an idea of what's taking place in your life and how you can really work with that to look at patterns, look at relationships, and how that supports you overall in manifesting. So I have to bring in self-love and self-care because Venus actually rules Libra, and Venus is the planet of love. And anytime we're looking at any element of our life, self-care needs to be a big part of that. It's an absolute necessity. It's no longer an option. We have to have some sort of self-care routines that support us in tuning into our, what lifts our spirits, what helps us feel passionate, what helps us feel vibrationally enhanced, and those types of things. So something like meditation or taking an Epsom salt bath, something that helps rejuvenate and restore any imbalances that you're feeling would be very supportive with this new moon. Anything heart-centered. I love meditating and just imagining the sunlight in my chest and then expanding that from my chest and radiate outward into every cell of my body and beyond that. And we'll actually do a meditation like that when we set our intentions in a couple of minutes. So one of my favorite self-care routines is to bring in essential oils. And some of my favorites for this new moon, I love rose because it helps us connect with our heart. It supports us in feeling unconditional love. It helps us to feel our self-love and make sure that we're honoring that part of ourself. I brought in doTERRA's balance blend because life is kind of crazy right now and we need as much balance as possible. Balance blend contains a bunch of different tree oils. So any tree oils such as frankincense or cedarwood or any of the fir oils or spruce oils will support you in feeling more grounded and anchored and bringing in those characteristics of the tree, of those roots going deep into the earth so that you can be flexible and flow with the wind that is taking place around you. I also wanted to mention, I know Marjoram was on here, but as I was looking at this new moon and thinking about sort of the overarching feeling of it, to me, there's this spiritual progress and spiritual reset that's taking place. And so as I'm looking at my relationship, I'm opening myself up to higher realms by my connection with my higher self through the crown chakra. And essential oils that really support that include things like Roman chamomile, like frankincense will do that. doTERRA has a blend called Elevation. Sandalwood is another one for really opening up that crown chakra and opening up to higher realms of information. And if you have questions about that, I'm actually with a new doTERRA order or with an existing account of at least $200. I'm giving away a chakra balancing course, and it has two parts. There's the chakra balancing course, that's an 8-part course, and then there's chakra balancing with essential oils course. So both of these, the retail value on these is close to $150, but I'm actually going to be giving those to you. So if you do have questions on how to get access to that information, just email me through Jana at New Moon Manifesting or reply to one of the emails that I send out, and you'll be able to get information about that. So I want to open up the lines for questions that you may have. Hello, hello, beauties. I love it when everyone pops in. All right, I'm letting the cat out because she's driving me crazy. Yep, you gotta go. Yep, giddy up. Everyone needs to be out of the studio when it's time for class. All right. You can.
Sorry, can I ask a question?
Yes, love. What's your question?
Hi, my name's Mara. So I looked at my natal chart. I think I have Libra in my 10th house.
Perfect.
So then I looked at what you said for that. So what does that mean exactly?
So your 10th house relates to your career. It relates to the work that you're
I'm looking
going
for a job
through.
right now. I'm a nurse and I'm like looking for a job, and I just got passed over for 2 positions and now they're considering me for another position. But I'm in this place where like I just went through 6 months of resetting. Like full disclosure, I went to rehab. I did a lot of mental health stuff. Like I feel
Perfect.
stronger than I've ever felt in my life,
Awesome.
but a lot of hits to the ego as well. So like getting the job sort of like going to end that part of my, you know what I mean? It's going to like
Yes.
end the journey. So I'm just kind of like, I want the job. I want the job. I want the job. Then the other part of me is like, I don't just want any job. I want
Yep.
the right fit for me.
The right job. Yep. I literally heard
Right.
that. I want the right job. So as you're talking about that intuitively, especially with the journey that you've just recently gone through, it feels like you're doing something that involves more management, or something that you're helping balance the scales with other people. I don't know what type of nursing position that would be. Or if there's some sort of advocacy group that you end up getting involved with because of that. But there's something around that is, it's like it's on a bigger level, because with Libra being in the 10th house, it's balancing that work relationship and teaching other people how to do it too. So I don't know if there's anything specific that you just recently went through that you're like, oh my gosh, I could help so many people with this. But just something to think about as you're applying for positions and seeing if there's something that's more partnership related, like you're partnering with the hospital, you're partnering with this specific organization or something like that. Does anything resonate with you around that?
Well, I know I want to go into public health for my master's eventually. Right now, like I kind of just want to start working so I can get some income.
Money?
Yeah,
Plain and
but I
simple,
also,
gotta have it.
but like I also am kind of in this place where I'm like, I just read like the Womb Awakening book.
Mm,
So I'm kind
yes.
of like, I'm pretty sure that whatever I want, I just went vegan, like I think I'm on to something.
Yeah, there's
Um,
definitely a huge up-leveling that's taking place. And, 10th house is, it's kind of like the highest tier of our work. So it's kind of like our legacy and what we're known for. So just keep that in mind. I mean, even if it's not the job right now, and the fact that you're looking at your master's in that field, that will support you in, okay, how can I utilize my gifts and talents? And I mean, it almost feels like negotiating, right? Like if there
I
was,
want to go into policy. So it's funny, yeah, that you say
yeah,
that.
yeah, because that would be like your what are they called?
Like that's like my dream is to go into policy.
But they're, oh, unions. Thank you. I'm like, what is that word? It's like you're the union rep for the nurses or something like that. And I
Yeah.
don't even thought if that even exists, but that's what it kind of feels like to me, is that upper level. And if you are working on policy, creating balance, right? Because nurses work a ton of hours, and that's not always healthy for not only them, but for the people that they're providing care for. So yeah, definitely be looking into that. And how do I create balance in the system, which would be the Libra energy, and how do I bring that forward? And even how do I create balance within these people's lives? Because you've seen an imbalance and you've gone through some major healing in that process. Does that help?
It does. So the 10th house is career oriented. I just keep remember, I'll
Absolutely.
take that away from it. Okay. Okay. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Who else? Questions? Do you know where it's taking place for you? I should probably open the chat. I've got other stuff up.
Hey, Jana.
Hi.
Hi, how are you? Yeah, what you said about self-love, self-care really resonated. I mean, for me, it's transiting my 12th house because I have Libra rising, but it's like a very late degree.
Gotcha.
So I always like look at like what they say for Scorpio because it never applies,
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, and with this being at 13 degrees, so we're not even at the halfway point. It would definitely be in your 12th house.
Yes.
And
I mean, so what is that? It's just like kind of like going within and
yeah, kind of consider that the end of the astrology wheel. So it's an opportunity to look at what you've mastered for the past 12 months. Because I look at the ascendant, that to me is the new year. So you're kind of having your new year towards the end of this month as we move into Scorpio. And so it's like, okay, well, what do I want to button up and finalize? What have I mastered over this last 12 months? What do I want to move forward with? 12th house also relates to, the dreaminess. It can be the daydreams. It can be the night dreams that we tune into. What is it that I want bigger picture? It can also be indecisiveness because, it can go into dream time and be like, well, I don't want to live in reality. I want to live, in my fantasy life. So I'd use this time as kind of that dream, what is my life? If I could wave my magic wand, what does my life ultimately look like?
yeah, I guess it's a good time to really meditate and reflect.
Absolutely.
Um,
Absolutely.
It's a weird thing to do on a Wednesday in the middle of the week, but be that as it may, I do in a strange sort of way feel like I'm wrapping things up and preparing for the next chapter this month. I
Perfect.
can't really put it into words so much, but that's how my life is unfolding.
Yeah,
Uh,
you're perfectly aligned with finishing up this astrology year and stepping into the new you in Scorpio. So
yeah,
definitely use from this time until, whatever degree is your ascendant. Just use this time to, journal, kind of think about what it is you want closure in and what it is that you want to move forward with.
yeah, my moon is in Scorpio also.
Perfect.
Just a slight side note, someone was talking about the Vedic chart and how the moon is in Virgo, I think, according to the Vedic, and how they're talking about like all these like earth influences. And I'm like, it's so confusing.
There's there's several different schools of thought,
I know.
and you kind of just have to go with what works for you. So I pick one and I go with it, and it's try not to get overwhelmed by, if there's one way that you like it, then follow that way. Don't get distracted by so many different choices.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Anyway, yeah, I'm gonna leave you now and go into my cave. Thank you.
All right, my dear. Thank you. Thanks for joining us. Kristen, my dear, your hand is up.
Hi, everyone. So I think it was when you were specifically talking about Mercury going direct that you said difficult conversations, speak your truth, a couple of other things that resonated with me that I didn't jot down. And I was curious if that's something that's going to like come into play once it goes direct, or if those are some things that maybe could be starting to happen already now. And then also this new moon is transiting my 4th house. And I'm curious if you have anything to say about that.
Absolutely. So yes, if you feel inspired to have those conversations now, by all means, make sure that you are, scripting it out, writing out what you want to say, because with Mercury being retrograde, it's easy for things to land the wrong way, right? Like you could intend it this way and they hear it that way. And you just want to make sure that the communication is clear. Maybe they're reflecting back to you what you said to them so that you guys are both on the same page. But anytime we have conversations or any sort of communication, it's, double check that all the T's are crossed and I's are dotted, because Mercury is notorious about, well, what I really meant to say was blah, blah, blah. Right.
So basically it might be better to wait to have the difficult conversations and really speak your truth till it does go direct to kind of avoid some of that. But if some of them are already starting to happen, that could be what's at play, like things are getting taken the wrong way. Okay.
Absolutely. And even some of those little things can be nipped in the bud and not, blown out of proportion by having an additional conversation.
Mhm. And
With fourth
anything with regards to fourth house?
Yeah, so this is home base. This is emotional security. So when I look at kind of that emotional security within Libra, it's like there could be a lot of emotional security within partnerships where you feel really comfortable with it. It's not a codependency, but it's an integration is the word that's popping up. So if in the past it hasn't been an integration, it's looking at those relationships and saying, okay, well, I see why in the past it wouldn't have worked out. Either the other person was codependent or I was. And so, there was no emotional security, but that emotional security comes from within. So if you're in a stable place and your partner's in a stable place, then you're going to bring that emotional stability to both of you. And there's not going to be sort of the dynamic of playing off another person. So not only with a romantic relationship, but this can be any sort of partnership, your close siblings, any places where there's relationship that is just one-on-one. So is anything coming to mind around that?
The only thing coming to mind would be that in the chart you put up, I think at one of the things in there, it said family. So maybe it's specific to family relationships.
Absolutely.
And I am with my family right now, also. So that might make sense.
Definitely, right, because fourth house does relate to family. So yeah, be tuning into that and having fun with them and having those conversations that may be difficult, or just clearing the air. It doesn't have to be a difficult conversation, but making sure that you're expressing your voice, even if it isn't heard the way that you want it. There's something about empowering about speaking our truth, no matter what happens after. Because when we have that sense of empowerment after having a conversation, then it becomes easier and easier to have future conversations that ultimately get us where we want to go. But if we're never speaking up, especially in a family dynamic, or if you feel that your voice isn't heard, then maybe it's an opportunity for you to express that and be able to say, you know what, they're never going to get me. And it's okay. I just need to keep moving forward. Does that help?
It does. And I think the other thing that comes up is I'm right now not with family, but it could probably also translate to family, but hitting a wall of boundaries. If I have issues asserting my boundaries, which I do, there was kind of a come to Jesus. There was kind of a come to Jesus this weekend that initiated, that really kind of sparked within me it's time to close the door on this. Like this, I have to become committed to, I prioritize maintaining friendly relations, so particularly asserting boundaries with where there is an existing relationship of some kind, if it's not a stranger, but even with strangers, but specifically when there's something, personal, I tend to prioritize maintaining the friendly relations, or fear of disrupting the relationship over standing my ground and asserting a boundary. Yeah. And it does is get me in trouble, over and over. I mean, it cost me $10,000 one time, and and now is causing another problem. You would think the money would have made it kick in, but it was kind of a light switch moment this weekend where I was like, no more, this has to stop. It has to stop. So,
and you're smart, you set that boundary, and they don't even have to know what it is, but then you don't engage beyond that boundary that you set for yourself, because they may not ever get it or get you, right? So you just honor that by saying, okay, I'll have polite conversations with them, but that's as far as it goes. You know, it's some people just aren't going to get us.
Right. Thank you.
Absolutely. Narsha in the chat, what degree is it falling in? It's at 13 degrees. So it's almost to the halfway point. If that helps you in finding it on your chart. One more question. Anybody that's got one? I feel like somebody's being really shy. Like, I want to ask something, but I won't put you on camera. You can hide behind the curtain.
I'm being that shy one.
All right, love, what can I help you with?
Right on, right on. Well, I'm looking at my chart, and so if I understand it right, the houses are on that middle circle, right? You know, the
little numbers in the middle. Yes.
in the middle, right? And so mine is in the 12th house,
Okay.
and there's a couple symbols up close to the outer circle. Oh, you probably can't see it, but on the outer circle, and it's Mars and Neptune.
Okay, so those Mars, if they're on the inner part of the circle, Mars and Neptune, that's where they were when you were born.
Okay. Okay.
So interesting. Does it show the degree? If you look at the bottom of the chart, on the left-hand side of it, I don't know what program you're using, but often on the left-hand side, it'll say Mars on the left, and it'll be your natal, and it'll have a degree.
Like 10, like a 10.
Yeah, so that's at 10 degrees. So we've just passed that point. The moon is actually probably there about now. And so you may have been feeling something over the last couple of days as far as kind of amped up energy to get something going, because that would be the Mars energy, right?
Okay.
Mars is about taking action. Mars is about war. It's about fighting for your rights, those types of things. So yeah, with this taking place in your 12th house, it's looking at that bigger picture. Like, if this was utopia, what would that higher spiritual perspective be of what my ideal life is?
Yes.
And, you know, tuning into what that is and really honoring that. And Neptune also in Libra, you know, Neptune is kind of it's the bottom of the sea, and it's helping us really tune in emotionally to what's taking place within us. Where do we still need healing? And I don't know, are you a healer, or are you in the healing?
I do healing work, but I'm also working on healing myself.
Okay.
I am a widow of almost 6 years.
Gotcha.
I did have a heart attack last January on the anniversary of my husband's passing. So I've been doing some really strong work on healing me from that. So
Yes, I can totally see that. And you know, symbolism is so powerful in the fact that you had the heart attack, because that heart attack is that grief and that loss of love, and the fact that you had it on his anniversary is very symbolic, right? So even though he may not be with you in this physical form, he is with you on that energetic spiritual plane, and you can always call upon him to support you.
yes.
So I'm glad you're doing the healing work, because especially right now with this in your 12th house, it's like, how do I heal myself and bring myself into preparing for the next step, this new astrology year as you're moving into Scorpio.
Yeah, yes, right. Yeah, that all makes sense. Totally. So I got past my shyness.
Thank goodness. I'm glad you did, my dear. I'm glad you did. All right. So we are going to set some intentions. As I mentioned earlier, you know, you can have a specific intention that you're setting, a specific goal that you have in mind. I love that this new moon is taking place at the beginning of the month, because we're in the last quarter of the year. And typically September through December are the most productive times of the year. So if there's any specific goals that you have that you're like, if I could wave my magic wand and wanted to create something magical by the end of the year, what would that be? And even if you don't know what that is right now, maybe tonight or tomorrow, you can think about that intention and hold the space within your heart. We're going to go through an actual activity to help you set that intention, but hold that intention, writing it down, repeating it to yourself, making sure that you're aligned with it. And that's what I want us to focus on first, is aligning with one of your goals and one of your intentions. So as you think about something that you want to achieve over the next 30 days or beyond, just tune into your body, take a deep breath. And I want you to just tune into your body. You're setting this goal. Notice where you feel that in your body, or if you feel it, there may be something specific. I did this with one of my clients and I asked her, this was at the first of the year. And I said, okay, what is it you want to manifest? And she rattled off her goal. And I said, oh, that sounds so amazing. I can see you doing that. And then I said, okay, now I want you to tune into your body and notice where you feel that in your body. And she immediately, her energies just like clinched up, like, what did I just commit to? So that often can happen where we have this big idea and we want to get it out in the world. And then we have these limiting beliefs. We have emotional wounds that are like, wow, who do you think you are for wanting that goal? Or how do you think you're ever going to do that? I don't want you to think about the how. I don't want you to think why. I just want you to tune into your body and feel yourself planting that seed within your heart. And you can take your hands over your heart and just tune into your heart and just imagine that there's fertile soil within your heart. And you're planting your seed of intention and you're holding that space, that loving, compassionate place, just allowing yourself to tune into what you feel. And as you focus on this, I'm imagining that we're in a circle, connected with each other. Maybe we're standing around a bonfire celebrating this magnificent Libra new moon, but just tuning into setting our intentions. Just imagine that you're gazing into the fire, allowing yourself to release anything that no longer serves you, any limiting beliefs, any emotional wounds, anything that may be holding you back from receiving all of the support, that the pathway is being lit up and opened up to you. And using your breath, just tuning into your body. Literally just scanning your body and feeling any imbalances, any heaviness, any places that may feel dark, dense energy. Just imagine yourself bringing your breath to that place, bringing love and light to that place. Allowing yourself to be open to the healing energies and bringing in the vibration of unconditional love to support all of us at this time. Really working on staying out of the mind and trying to figure out how to do this and simply being present with your body. Tune in even deeper to what you feel, being present. If the energy feels really dark and dense and heavy, just imagine it's like opening up a candy wrapper. You open up the very tiny corner of it just to allow a little bit of light in, a little bit of that sunlight, a little bit of that love into that place within your body. Maybe you allow a little bit more light into that space. Feeling into it, allowing yourself to be very present. And imagine bringing that light within your heart, where you've just planted the seed. Allowing that love and light to expand within your heart. Imagine it's like a sun, that the energy is literally dancing and radiating within your heart. It's burning away anything that no longer serves you. Opening up more space within you. And that sunlight begins to expand in all directions, radiating and elevating, enlightening every cell in your body. Just imagine your entire body is lit up. Supporting you and connecting with your higher self, connecting with Mother Earth, anchoring and grounding your feet to the earth, and sending light from the bottom of your feet into the earth as you connect with the center of the earth. Allowing yourself to be present. Allowing the light to move through your body, just like the smoke in the wind. It easily floats through your system. And every cell is vibrating and radiating at the vibration of unconditional love. And take a deep breath in. And exhale, release. And bring your awareness back to your heart. Noticing how your heart, how your body feels different, or if it feels different. And express gratitude for taking this time and opportunity to decompress, to set your intentions. Express gratitude to your guides and your higher self for supporting you in this process. As you begin to bring yourself out of this activity, if there's any specific thoughts that came to mind or messages or feelings, I encourage you to write them down right away. It's like a dream. As soon as we start making some movement, we lose those thoughts and feelings. And when you feel your processing is complete, go ahead and open your eyes. And Miss Vicki, you asked a question. How do you figure out which of your chakras need balancing? That's a great question. Each of the chakras, the 7 major chakras, we have many of them on our body, but the 7 major chakras run from the base of our torso to the crown of our head. And each one of them is responsible for specific body parts. So I look at the physical body as a representation of what's taking place within us emotionally. So if you said something like, oh, my heart is hurting, then we would look at the heart chakra. Like that could show up as, like Florence was saying, a heart attack. It could be reflected as clogged arteries, cholesterol issues. The heart also affects the breast tissue. It affects the arms and the shoulders. So there could be grief that you're holding and you end up with shoulder issues. So it's really looking at any physical imbalances that you may have to identify places energetically where that may be taking place for you. I hope that helps you. Any interesting experiences or anything anyone would like to share as we wrap up? Go ahead and unmute yourself, or you can raise your hand, whichever is easiest. I know it's not always easy to talk after something like this. What are my thoughts about mitigating people who have boundary issues with regards to violating other people's boundaries? Yeah, you just have to keep drawing the line in the sand and sticking to it, because those people are bullies. Actually, one of the things that's coming to mind when I have a relationship with a difficult person, I imagine a string going between me and that person because we're in a relationship. And instead of sending love and light to that person, I actually started sending love and light to the string, to the relationship itself and whatever it was. And the other thing that's coming to mind is if somebody keeps pushing against your boundaries, you may not be setting them as definitively as possible. Like you may say something like, oh, I really don't like it when you do that, right? Like it's sort of a soft boundary versus stop doing that. I don't like it, right? There's a very different message that you're projecting and doing it that way. Sorry, I'm losing my voice. I've been on Zoom for 5 hours today teaching classes, so it's been crazy. So I hope that helps you in setting boundaries. Something else came to mind. It'll come back in a minute. If any of you are on Clubhouse on Wednesdays at 2 p.m. on the East Coast, 11 a.m. Pacific time, I'm talking about the book that I'm writing, which integrates business with energy balancing tools, chakra balancing tools, and how to build a bigger, bolder, better business. Even if you don't have a business, the business is running your household, you're the CEO of your household, you're still in business in some sort. You have income and you have expenses. And if any of you are interested, 2 p.m. Eastern on Clubhouse. Yes, so jump on the app. My club is called Goddesspreneur. And so if you join the club, you can see what's available. You can follow me and you'll have that information. I'll actually put the link in the email that I send out after this class with the recording information. So yes, I will be on Clubhouse. I'm on there every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern. So join us for that. I'm going to stop recording. And then if you have any final questions before we wrap up, I just want to say thank you for everybody joining us tonight. It's always my pleasure to be here. Sorry about the slides. I don't know what happened. Mercury, because I did it twice and I actually ran through it before this, so whatever. But hopefully you got the gist of it and hopefully your questions were answered. I look forward to seeing you on our Scorpio new moon call. So crazy that we've only got 2 more left in the calendar year. Always my pleasure to be here with you and to support you in your manifesting journey. So big hugs and loves to all of you.